In a certain office, 50% of the employees are college graduates and 60% of the employees are 40 years old. So it looks like it's a two-set question. So the first thing that we should do in such question is draw a grid. Now, I am drawing the grid like this. Now 50% of the employees are college graduates. So there are certain people who are not graduates, there are certain people who are grads, and 60% of the employees over 40. So that means there are people who are over 40 years and people who are less than or equal to 40 years old. Now let's assume that the total population is 100. 50% of the employees are college graduate and 60% are 40 years old, and 30% of those over 40 have master's degree. Alright, so in the grad there are two possibilities. One, people who have master's degree, and second, people who do not have master's degree. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make a small change, and I'm going to say that this whole column is these two columns I'm calling are graduates. Now some do not have masters, only graduates, and some have the masters. So that ways for graduates there are two columns that I have taken. Now the question says 50% of the employees are college graduates. Let's assume that the total sample population is 100, then 50% are college graduates. That means the sum of these two columns will be 50. That means people who are not college graduates will automatically be 100 minus 50, that is 50. The next line reads 60% of the employees are over 40 years old. Over 40 years old, the population is 60. That means the number above that will be 100 minus 60, which is equal to 40. Next line, if 30% of those over 40, so 60 are the people over 40 and 30% of them have master's degree. That means this should be 30% of 60 and the remaining should be 30% of those over 40, so that becomes equal to 18. That means the rest of the 60 has to be distributed between these two parts, people who are not graduate and graduates without masters. But so far we have this much information, and make sure that you understand that everything is actually in percentages because we have assumed that the base sample population is 100. Now the question is exactly 100 of the employees are college graduates. And the question is asking how many of the employees over 40 have master's degree. So how many of the employees over 40 have master's degree? That means what we need to find is 18% of total population. Now, and we need to find it in exact numbers. So that's the question for us. Now let's see the first statement. The first statement says exactly 100 of the employees are college graduates, which means the first statement says that this 50% is actually equal to 100. That means 18% of the total population. 50% of the total population is 100. That means the total population according to the first statement is going to be 200, and 18% of 200 is equal to 36, which means the first statement is clearly sufficient. Since the first is sufficient, therefore option B, C and E can be eliminated at this stage. Now let's look at the second statement. Of the employees 40 years old or less, that means out of these 40 people, 25% have master's degree. That means 25% of 40 is equal to 10. But this is 10% of the total population. Remember one thing, that everything in this grid is in percentages, and there is no absolute number of the total population given in the second statement. Therefore the second statement would be insufficient, and hence answer to the question becomes option A. I hope you enjoyed the explanation. Thank you so much.